All right, what's going on? It's your boy JoeThunder back once again with another episode of the Smoking Joe Thunder podcast. I'm gonna say it one time, podcast. You know, bringing you the latest and greatest in that hip hop, cannabis news from Denver all over the motherfucking world, LA, New York, Miami, you name it, Houston, we everywhere. Real quick shout out to bgood Dispensaries. They're our official sponsor, you know what I'm saying? Go check them out. They got the best of your marijuana needs. And we're going to keep it pushing, man. We got another banger for you. We got another cat who got some motherfucking gang of history up here in Denver. You know, hip-hop, like not only graffiti, b-boying, rapping, the whole nine. But we got motherfucking, I don't even know where to start, man. We got the one and only Cosmo, GWT in the building. What's going on, brother?
Yes, sir. How's it going? Doing well. Pleasure to be here.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm hyped,
man. You hyped? You ready?
Yeah, I'm hyped, man. I'm glad to be here, man.
And he's like, damn, bro. Like,
man, I saw the podcast last week, and I was just blown away. I was like, this is how they do it.
This is just kind of cool.
This is how it's done. You know, it was TCA crew, like a dope active graffiti crew, and it was just dope to hear, man. It was like, it was fresh because, you know, I started really with graffiti art, and so I have crew members that still paint and stuff, but I don't really. So like to hear
not too
like
much lately.
No, not as much as I'd like to, but I'm starting again. Got me a little crate going, stuff like that.
You do a little bit of everything, man. You was talking about you do graffiti, you b-boy, GWT,
yep.
rapping with Den Africa Sam, and fucking all kinds of other hoopla, right?
Yeah. So like in the early 90s, it was kind of like, in the 90s, it was weird. It was like everyone kind of did a little of everything. You know, it wasn't like nowadays.
No, bro, you caught your niche.
Yeah, you know, like
I tried breakdancing, but I'm too motherfucking fat, bro. So you know what I mean? It wasn't happening.
Well, it's crazy because we stuck with b-boying because we got tired of painting. So GWT is actually a combination of OAK, CWD, and ABC, like 3 Northside crews from Denver, like from North Denver, and all of the breakdancers stuck with dancing, and that's when GWT got reformed again in like 98, 99.
But let's go way back, man. You were born and raised in the North, right?
Yeah.
By Chubby's.
Yeah.
Well, that shit in your blood or what?
Yeah, of course, all day. Yeah, I grew up on like 72nd and Pecos and like 45th and Vallejo, and like I lived on 38th and Meade, so just kind of just the whole neighborhood over there. Wow. But I remember in the early 90s, my older sister's, I'm 44, my older sister's 50, and she used to listen to like the New Jack era.
Right.
You know,
like the New Jack swing, the Teddy Riley, Heavy D
Teddy
shit.
Riley or Heavy D.
Rex and Effects.
I'll be sure, you know.
Yeah, for
Is
sure.
It good to me?
Little Mary J in there.
Yeah, all day. Yeah. And then I remember, hey, cool factoid, Pharrell's first verse that he sold was to Rex and Effects for Teddy. Ready with the 1-2 check out. Rex
shit.
and Effects. I like the way you comb your hair. I like the style of clothes you wear. I like, So that was Pharrell's first verse that he sold, which was cool because it says
he came up under a genius, bro. Teddy Riley, it don't get no better than that.
And so we used to have hip hop dance crews in middle school, and it was like 4-man crew, even though I was like
middle school, huh?
Yeah, even though I was like the 8th member. It was 4-man crew. We had
he was the 8th member in both crews.
Yeah, we had Too Legit. We had Hollywood, which had like 90s, but we had like airbrush t-shirts and stuff, and we all had like
that was the shit.
Yeah, and so we were all doing the Running Man and like the Cabbage Patch, and you know, like we were doing all that, and then that's how I started dancing. When I was in elementary, my older brother used to draw like these little battle scenes with like tanks and stick figures and like them shooting rockets and like
kind of like some Napoleon Dynamite shit. You remember when he's doing the Eagle or some shit? And it's all crazy.
And it was, and that was like through the 80s when I was growing up, because I was born in 79. And my older brother's 3 years older than me, and so I started drawing because he would draw those little scenes, and so that's how I started drawing. It was because my older brother, and my older brother's like a more clean-cut, mature me.
Right.
He's always been my idol my whole life.
That's dope, bro.
Great dude. And he was always there to be my older brother and not my best friend.
Right. How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I have an older brother. He's 3 years older than me. I have an older sister who's 6 years older than me, and I have an older...
I was like, your sister's running shit, huh? She was beating your ass, regulating, telling you what to do.
She was. She's the best. And I have a half sister who's 9 years older than me that I didn't meet until I was in 6th grade. But I'm lucky because I have a family. You know, like we're not just related. Like I have a father. I don't have a dad. I have a mother. I don't have a mom. You know, I have like, you know, we.
Hell yeah. Were they strict when you were growing up?
No. Strict.
Or were they busy working? Because my parents worked all the time, bro. So they were strict, but they weren't strict. But we didn't really fuck up. But we could do what we wanted. You know what I mean?
Because I'm a latchkey kid. So
Yeah,
my
exactly.
older
Same
sister,
shit.
my older sister, and my older brother had the house keys, and I was just out on a bicycle, and I would come home when it got dark, and I would get a sandwich and a flashlight and a backpack. And go back out on my BMX bike, and that's just how it was in the 80s.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like in 86, I was 7. You know, so it was just like I would mow lawns and shovel snow to get money to
Exactly,
go
bro.
play Street Fighter and Mario at the arcade. You know, like it was a simple life back then. Like,
Exactly.
it was, and then like the 90s came. That's when we started dancing.
Well, real quick, you said you got into graffiti first, right?
I did.
Were you emulating battle scenes like your brother? Were you doing like maybe some characters, or were you trying to do some letters?
It was mostly tagging, to be honest. But
What were you tagging? What was your first graffiti name?
Method.
Method.
Yeah, and my older brother used to roll with the older guys in INS, Even and Whisk, Hilbert and them, the older guys that painted mostly. It was Scream, Arc, and all of them. They were mostly the taggers. So my older brother was already into hip hop, and you know, next thing you know, cassettes come around, and Dr. Dre, The Chronic starts dropping, and
Was that some of the first things you were listening to?
I actually bought NWA Boys in the Hood. Ruthless Records was my first
How'd
record.
you get that shit?
I went to not Contents, but 13th and Washington Wax Tracks,
Okay.
and then I
They
bought
sold it to your ass? I know you were under 18.
yeah, and then I bought Beat Street soundtrack, and it had a fold out on how to pop.
I remember that. That's dope. What did you think of Beach Street, the movie, when you seen it?
It blew my mind. It blew my mind. I was like, all right, this is what it's about, you know? And I didn't know about it until... so we were hip-hop dancing, and then all of a sudden, it was September of, like, 93, and Scream was like... he goes, there's this hip-hop show off 9th and Lincoln. And I go, what? He goes, yeah. And that's when Total Devastation, yo, what up? Yo, yo, yo. Peace, love, tacos, baby. And so we went there, and this is I was going to the skating rinks up north and meeting all them, and we would pop. We were all doing the wave, and like we were all popping, locking, like trying to pop and lock. I don't
Right.
know if we were doing it right, whatever. And then
I heard the other day that those are actually two different things.
completely different. Popping and locking are
They are
completely
two
different.
things. I never knew that.
Yeah, popping came from the Bay, and locking came from L.A.
Yeah.
So like, which is crazy. Like people don't, yeah, because popping is more like there's like 30 styles of popping. There's waves, there's hits, there's ticks, there's
the ticks.
strobes, there's and then locking has to do with like.
Yeah, kind of like the
lock-
rerun. You remember
Yep.
What's Happening?
Exactly.
That's more. That's,
exactly. Yeah, Don Campbell came out.
Hold on, I think I got it mixed up. Which one is the
Rerun.
which
You're right.
one is rerun? Is that popping?
That's
or
locking.
That's
That's
locking.
locking.
That's the locking, and the
Yeah.
popping is the more ticking.
Like
and the,
Mr. Wave from Beat
Yeah,
Street.
yeah.
It's like, doing. So we went to this, and that's when like Total Devastation came out with that song. I want to get blunted, my brother. Dun, you know, I want to get blunted, my brother. Total Devastation came out with like a weed song, early 90s.
Back in the day.
Yeah, and we went to this hip hop jam. And there was it was dance hall style, like cool work. I'd never seen it before because I was
like when you say
I was young.
dance hall reggae, right?
Well, dance hall like style. I mean, because it was a DJ with big ass concert style speakers, and I was 14. I'd never done that yet.
Do you ever remember a cat? What the fuck was his name? His name was I want to say DJ Uplifter. I think he was like a white Jamaican cat, but he would play like 90s hip hop with reggae food, and he would make it sound sick.
Oh,
I would always buy his mixtapes because I knew like his shit, like he would rock that shit.
and that's back in the day of mixtapes.
Yeah,
I miss that.
for real, huh?
We got good at breaking because we would go to the rave parties every weekend on Saturdays, And this is 93, 94 when you had to go to a map points.
I remember that, but me and you, like, you're like probably what I'm not gonna say how many years younger you are, but you're good, you're a couple years younger than me. So I honestly, I'm there with you with the rave, calling the fucking number, getting the map, going to the fucking rave, shoveling fucking snow and fucking mowing lawns to get extra money. I'm there with you all the way. But go ahead, my bad.
Yeah, no, cut on in. I love it. We're building, bro. This is like these are the building blocks. This is Legoland. Like we're just gonna build.
So you talking about the raves?
Yeah, and we would go and dance every weekend, and that's when Scream and them started showing me popping, and then but at that hip hop jam we saw Mars and Fiends and Quick Step.
Were you in GWT at this point or no?
No.
Okay, this is still pre.
This is pre GW. This is like right when they started GWT. I was like just like a tag along.
Right.
Literally.
And what kind of made you kind of get into b-boying?
Scream was like, "This is the shit." And he goes, "You hip hop dance." He goes, "Sick." He goes, "Try this stuff." Like, because I was already drawing. I was already dancing.
Right.
So Scream, like, groomed me and showed me the hip-hop world.
Right.
Basically, the culture. He showed me the whole culture. Like, he was like, it's about DJing. It's about b-boying. It's about MCing. It's about artwork. It's about community. He goes, shit, it's even about skating. And this is like 93.
There are a couple elements they don't mention in hip-hop. Beatboxing and skating definitely need to be up in that bitch.
Bro, I used to live with D and Drop.
Okay.
From Tetra.
Yeah, they're the homies.
Bro. Fucking Chris Haven. Like, that's...
I was gonna ask.
That's the crew. I used to live with Drop.
Shout out to Nice, because I've been thinking about asking him, like, who makes better beats, you or Dropper?
Ooh, that's tough.
You know,
don't you dare do that.
You know, I got like a little drop of story, man. Like right when I kind of got into music, I was kicking it with Mr. Verbal. I don't know if you know Mr. Verbal.
Yeah, of course.
And he played this beat for me, bro, on this beat CD that Dropper gave him, and like,
disgusting, bro.
I was like, bro, this beat is sick. And I was doing some shit with Dent. And I was like, Dent would fucking sound perfect on this.
Oh, dope.
And I kind of jacked Mr. Verbal. I didn't jack him, but I kind of jacked him for the beat. You know, kind of like, you know. He gave it to me willingly. And I had to call Dropper, too. And I had to be like, oh, Dropper, like, I heard this beat, bro, and I need it, bro. And he blessed me with it, man. And bro, Dent made like a fucking dope act. You can hear Dent on this shit all day, bro.
I know which song you're talking about.
You know?
Yeah. I did a couple times. Drop would throw on some beats he made. I'd be like waking up. I'd be like, what are you doing, bro? It's 9 in the morning. Oh, I just got tired of drawing, making music.
Been drawing for like 3 hours. Now it's time to make some music.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, let's do this. And I'd listen to some shit. And sometimes it would, his beats, I'm going to say this and you're going to laugh. You're going to love it, and you're going to know exactly why. But his beats would make me make that face where you don't know if I was listening to a sick-ass Nas song and verse or smelling a stinky fart.
That's
like
hilarious.
that, you know, that face where you go, and you just...
almost like that bitter beer face?
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, almost like that,
but so you don't know if it's like a sick ass Nas verse or if it's a smelly fart.
Yeah.
But that's what his shit would do to me. I'd go, oh, and like my hair would stick up on my arms, and I'd just be like, just disgusting.
Now, shout out to those cats, man, because I liked what they were doing back in the day. Like they had the hip hop crew.
Yeah.
Tetra, cats like Dropper, Nice, like you said, Haven, making beats, rapping, painting.
Even Drop B-Boy a little. So
and then you got crews like Life Crew.
Yeah, well, that's where Tetra, you know
what I mean? Same shit.
Decca and all them. And
no, talk about it. Like I don't know, like if there's some connection between that. You know,
Jolt and all the. It was Jolt and like so WAK back in the day is who. so in the early '90s when, so Dent and I went to random high school, and that's when Scream started showing me, because he caught me in the lunchroom drawing this bunny rabbit with a bong.
Nice.
And he was like, oh, you sketch? So do I. And he had this Scream piece with this guy doing a head spin on it. And it was like colors, and there was 3D, and I was like, what the fuck?
Some sick ass shit.
Yeah, and he was like, I'm learning how to write graffiti. You should do it with me. This is sick, bro. He's like, you're pretty cool. You know, this and that. And like, he showed me these pieces he had in this piece book, and it was from a crew from Cali called WEC, Whatever's Clever. And sick, mad stilo, mad style. They like wild style with like arrows and stuff tucking in and out, like hella 80s but West Coast influenced wild style.
Right.
I don't know how else to explain it, but it was impressive, even for 93 September. So he started me and my friend Mitch showing us how to graph. And my friend Mitch, he grew this little picture because we were starting our own crew, and they were INS, Insane New School. I Never Stop. So we started CIA, Crazy Insane Artists, and we were like, that's too close to them. Like, yeah, they showed us how to do this. We want to be our own crew, but a little too close.
Right.
So his little sister drew this he drew this tree stump of a baby oak tree, and he put OAK, and his little baby sister goes, oh, one of a kind. And that's OAK.
There you have it.
One of a kind.
Right.
That was our first name. On a quest. Only a king. One-armed crooks. Others aren't considered. Like, you know. And then, so that's how we became OAK. And then when I became OAK, that was 93, 94 September. That 4th of July, that following year, my buddy Tyson had a big old party off like 76th and Sheridan, you know, that neighborhood.
Legendary party?
Dude,
Pretty
I'm talking
legendary.
I'm talking before, what is it? Party X or whatever.
X.
Project X? Yeah. No, it was that on a smaller scale, but with more fireworks.
Right.
So Dent and I woke up that next day. For some reason, him and I woke up first. And he was like, yo, I love how you graph. I love how you just crawl around on freeways and just get up and climb on signs. He goes, I want that. And I was like, well, I love how you rhyme, Dent. I go, so funny story. He's probably going to hate me for this, but love me forever. But when we were in middle school, actually, we were rival basketball teams. And he stuffed me one time and knocked me on the ground. I hated him for years. But in 9th grade, that was like 7th grade.
Right.
So he used to have this rhyme. He's about chicken nuggets. He had this obsession with chicken in the early 90s. Dent.
Chicken in general or chicken nuggets?
Dude, he had this. He just chicken. It was his shit, bro. Like, it was his bee's knees. It was his fucking jam,
That's
bro.
hilarious.
So he would go chicken nugget. Always got to have it because I love it. Rotisserie, maybe KFC. You can, yeah, dude. He has this whole chicken nugget.
Buy it or put it in the oven.
Oh, dude, he has this chicken flow, bro, and
I'm
it's
gonna have
from
to
the
ask him
night.
about that.
Oh, he'll be like, Cosmo, you mother. Yeah, dude. And so I was always like, that's tight, because I was listening to Mac Dre, California Living, you know, riding, siding, flipping, dipping, 24/7. Nigga ain't tripping. Mac Dre, the nigga you listen to nationwide. The shit don't, you know,
Yep.
put on the Mac man, you know, too hard for the fucking radio team, you know, Mac Dre, early 90s, cassette tape shit.
They don't know about that.
I live it. I was breastfed it, bro.
Yeah.
Right here. And so I used to have pages of rhymes, and then I asked him to show me how to rhyme, and he goes, show me how to paint. And him and I became joined at the hip.
Right.
He was the best lookout I ever had my whole bombing career. I used to call him Eagle Eye Adam. His name's Adam.
Right.
He was the best lookout. Sometimes he goes, just hit me up and I'll just be the lookout. I was all fucking cool.
Right.
Duh.
Hey, tell me how you kind of started showing you how to rhyme. Because you said it was pretty. He showed you somebody.
He was like, I like what you're doing with your little rhymes. You know, riding bikes, knife fights, everyone, wild nights. You know, I used to do that. I used to just ride kites. He was like, you're doing it right. And he showed me this little clip of Too Short putting words in a hat that used to rhyme. Bike, psych, mic, hike. And he would just pull out words that rhymed and fit in the little rhyme to it. Too short, Betty, I'm so hard. Walk all over boulevard. And like he goes, it's as simple as that, cuz. He goes, you got rhythm, you dance. He goes, just rhythm your words.
Bounce the words.
And that's what Dent showed me. And he goes, I'm learning from African Sam. And
you said they had a crew, right?
yeah, well, so they were Rhyme Squadron. And then I started hanging out with African Sam, and I just started entering all the battles.
Mm-hmm.
And
Was he a battler?
Oh, sick, bro. Both of them.
Yeah, I know Dent was for sure, but I don't know too much about African Sam. Man. You're gonna have to tell us.
Yeah, so he got his name because he went to high school in West Africa in Nigeria. So he's part of the Hausa tribe and speaks one of the Nigerian dialect. Yeah, which is pretty awesome. And so they were like, hey, you should be Rhyme Squadron with us. Like you're making music.
How long did this take? You know what I mean?
Probably like a year, because they saw I was hungry, and they saw me at all the house parties and stuff. So going back to like Theme and Maine and who was it? They had another guy that would made, because Psych wrote with them. So I would go to all the house parties in like North Denver and their WAK crew, and this is like when Chones still had to carry crates of records into parties to play. This is like
early shit.
Yeah, this is before Chones was on the radio. This is like
one thing about me and Chones. He went to see NWA at McNichols Arena. So did I. Were you there by chance?
No.
All right. I was gonna say
I did see.
That's a long time ago.
Janet Jackson, Black Cat tour. I did see that.
was that at Mile High?
McNichols? No,
Was that at McNichols?
the original McNichols. 2 days later, my ears were like, Black Cat Mama. Yeah, so I was for that, but I didn't see the NWA. My parents are like,
My parents didn't know. They didn't know. I had to go through like 4 metal detectors.
Yeah.
But go back to, so this is back in the day when Chones is still carrying his own records, house parties.
Yeah, because like this is back when like I don't know if you got Brett and DK, but they used to make music when I was like 15, 16 with Dent just starting out. But they used to throw a hip hop night with Chones at Herman's Hideaway. It was they had 50-cent beers, little beers, but we used to all go there and rhyme and stuff. So that's where everyone got kind of
their little practice session.
Yeah, and then I would see Theme, Maine, what's his name? Not Silos. At all the house parties, and I just was fucking destroying shit. And they were pissed. They wanted to fight, but I was like, I'm rolling with the whole north side. Like,
right.
You're rolling with a third of the north side. Like,
there's a difference there.
Chill the fuck out, homies. Like, this is hip hop. Like, and they hated me. They fucking hated me for the longest time. And that's when African Sam and Dent were like, okay, you got to be Rhyme Squadron, bro, this and that. And so they taught me how to like get into a studio and how to write rhymes. But they taught me how to structure my shit and like.
You were just spitting bars.
Yeah, and like they taught me how to be have a delivery in a way. They really helped me grow. And then they were like, dude, just let Cosmo go first. If you could get past Cosmo, get to Dent.
All right.
If you could get past Dent, get to Sam. Nobody got to Dent.
Right.
I didn't let that happen. Not on my watch, bro.
What was it like being in a crew with them or being in a group?
It was dope because it was real creative. It was something I'd never been a part of because I was in my teens. And those guys were, Sam already had like, he made music with Swollen members already. Mm-hmm. He had been overseas with OI Records, in Scotland. Like,
so they were seasoned.
Yeah, like he already had experience with Roots Maneuver, from London or whatever, the UK. I don't exactly know where he's from, but remember Roots Maneuver?
Actually,
yeah. I mean,
did you guys put out any music, any projects, or?
No, I was mostly like a battle style because I was in the.
So you guys are mostly going places battling.
Yeah, they were more of the music style, but I was more of the battle hungry because I was more of the bomber, the breakdancer, like the adrenaline junkie. Like, right. I was the little pit bull that they had in front, and they were like the OGs with the stats in the back, like Get him, little baby AI, little
Yeah.
Allen Iverson out there. Like,
Why'd they call you little baby AI?
because they're like, you're like Allen Iverson, you're crazy, cocky son of a bitch, just running around creating stats. And I was like, nobody gets, I'm short and ugly. Everyone else is tall and pretty, so I had to like compensate. But they really, I even went out to. Man, I mean, Sammy even took me out to New York in like '98, showed me the Twin Towers. Before
Talk about all that, man. What was that? What was that like on the NYC with them?
we got
Was
out,
kind of taking you like the hip hop spots, like showing you the
yeah,
shit.
yeah, because Quick Step was out there.
Talk about it,
him
bro.
and the Quick Step are good friends and stuff. So like, I get out there. It's '98. I got my suitcase. I get out on my taxi cab. The block's going crazy. He's like, "Let's go where we're staying." Da 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 da. So and so just got shot in his neck, and I was like, "Yeah, I see that." I was like,
It was going down like that.
yeah,
or what?
I was like 19. I was like, "What the fuck, Sam?" Like,
What
we're
just
in
happened?
Bushwick, Brooklyn. Little Domenico,
Uh-huh.
and then like we get down the block and we're cool, this and that, and then like this is back with like all the old Lexuses and Acura TLs,
Yeah.
like, and all these fools pop out with Averex jumpsuits that darker than Wesley Snipes, dreadlocks, and I'm just like, all right, well, are we in Jamaica? Because I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not cultured. I'm 19. I'm from Denver, just
yeah.
a Northsider. Like, and then they're like, "¿Qué quieres, amigo? ¿Cómo estás?" And then I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And I
Start
look
speaking
up,
Spanish.
and it's Dominican flags everywhere. I'm like, "These fools are Dominican. They're Spanish niggas." Like, oh, I'm all bien y tú. I'm like, fuck. Yeah. So, crazy thing is, we were out there and with fuck, what's his name? But we were out there, and so the graffiti heads out there were kind of pissed because the neighborhood asked African Sam to paint a memorial mural because he was a better painter than anyone else in the neighborhood. And so it said "En Memoria de Cristian" because Christian got shot. It was a 17-year-old Dominican kid got shot by this 14-year-old Puerto Rican.
Damn.
Well, the Puerto Ricans
This is back then.
lived right across the street. So right across the street, this is Bushwick before Bushwick got gentrificated. This is Bushwick when Black Star was living out there. This is there was Puerto Rican flags across the street, Dominican flags on our street, and a lot of those. And so African Sam had me help do all his fill-ins while he did all the fine lining, and all the graffiti writers out there were pissed, dude, and we knew it.
Was there any
Feel
like
the heat.
beef or like were they talking shit? Any threats?
No, because when it came down to it, the
old heads.
the old heads came out and they were like, "No, we asked these guys to do it." And then those same guys had them and their women. They were bringing us like plates of chicken and rice, and like they were like, "You did get asked to do this. Like we shouldn't be sweating the shit out of you. You're painting a mural, memorializing our brother who got shot in his neck while you showed up in a taxi with your little suitcase and your beanie." So, fuck you guys.
That's kind of wild, first experience in New York, bro.
Yeah. But Sam took me around and showed me the ins and outs of New York.
Where'd you guys go?
So, one of the coolest experiences I had with African Sam out there is since he went to high school in West Africa in Nigeria, part of the Hausa tribe. I don't know if you're familiar with Fela or Fema Kuti.
No.
Famous African artists. I mean, like they're like the Bob Marleys, Fela, the father,
Yeah.
Feta, like it's like Bob and like Ziggy. They're the African equivalent.
Exactly.
But
the whole fam.
Yeah. So he was like, "We're gonna go to this Nigerian restaurant on the other side of Brooklyn," and I was all sick. And he goes, "Okay, let me lay down some guidelines." He goes, "We're going in front of the Marcy Projects," and I go, "Oh, where Jay-Z's from?" I go, "Sick," and he goes, "Chill the fuck out, bro."
Calm down.
He goes, "I'm gonna tell you something right now, and you better fucking listen." He goes, "You remember how when you first showed up, I told you to walk twice as fast as you usually do to fit in?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "We have to walk faster across the Marcy Projects." He goes, "Don't look at anybody, don't talk to anybody." He goes, "And walk faster than you've ever walked, and just walk right behind me." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And holy shit, we pop out of the subway, and fools are doing pull-ups on the street lights right there.
Right.
Just,
all yoked.
God, dude, I'm talking like, hey, bro, can I borrow those arms? You know how to get them back. Holy shit, what the fuck is going on here? And it's a mile long, but how he explained it was exactly how it was. You look down, you walk faster, you don't talk to nobody, and I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Describe it.
Grimy, gully, gutter, intriguing.
A lot of people on the streets.
Tons. Sweating with anxiety.
Right.
And
you could just feel
tension.
You could just feel the tension in the air.
And then you could see the undercover cops, and you could just tell it's just
not a good spot to be in.
It's just the movies don't do it justice. Maybe paid in full, but and I just kept my head down, and we went to this restaurant, a little hole in the wall, probably 12 tables. They had Fela and Femi Kuti playing. Actually, not Fetty yet, just Fela, the dad. And we got these beers, and they were like this fucking big. It's so cool. And we had this lamb like stew or a roux, and they put it in the middle of this like yam, like more of a texture, tougher than mashed potatoes, more yam, more
it's like tougher in texture.
Yeah. And so what you would do is you would take a pinch of the yams, and you would put your thumb in it and make a spoon and spoon that soup or that roux with the lamb in it and eat it. And it was, so good. Like I literally can taste it right now. I wish. Oh God. And Fela Kuti was playing on it was a box TV, obviously, because it was 98. So it was on like that, a stand in the corner of the restaurant. Yeah. And it was like, a cube.
That's hilarious.
And then the food, and there was an African beer too from West Africa, from Nigeria. So that right there was like he shared a period of his past with me that he hasn't taken anyone else ever to do, and that was cool. That was one of the coolest things. And then we went bombing in the subways, and we took pictures. And it was with disposable cameras.
Remember that back in the day?
Zip, 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 zip. No, this was before disposable. This was
fucking Polaroid.
No, I didn't have that money for a Polaroid. But yeah, and he took me around, and he goes, "Hey, we're gonna go to New Jersey and see my boy Quickstep." And I was like, oh, shit. We take the bus over to Jersey, cross the bridge, get off the bridge. Cops throw us against this wall, rough us up a little, search us. They're like, Colorado? What the fuck are you doing out here? And we're like, breakdancing and seeing, this and that. And they're like, all right.
They really just swooped you up and threw you against the wall for no reason.
Well, if you looked a little different and to them, we looked suspect.
You weren't walking fast enough.
Exactly, yeah.
You were looking up and talking to somebody.
They said that everyone used to take the buses across the bridges and just transport dope. And so they were like, you guys just looked like you weren't around here.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then it was cool though, man. Like it was Bushwick, Brooklyn. Like when it was when it had the highest teenage murder capita in the nation at the time.
Oh damn.
And then
did you go down the boogie down?
No, we didn't make it to the Bronx. We hot-stepped it past Spanish Harlem. We were like, fuck this.
Oh yeah.
Those were salsa dancing guns and shit.
Crazy.
But it was cool. He took me on the ferry to Staten Island, and you get to see the Statue of Liberty, and it's a free ferry. So he took me around Stat real quick, right there. Nothing too major, but like I was out there for a week with him. It was dope.
That's dope.
Like African Sam really took me under his wing and like actually gave a shit about me. Like it was cool, and like and Dent too. I mean, obviously Dent was his protege and like his little,
Mm-hmm. So you guys started doing like a bunch of battles. What was that like, man?
It was fun because we had a rep, And the only times we didn't do well was where we'd go to rap battles in Aurora, and it was a different style. It was rap. It wasn't hip hop
Right.
battles, and so we weren't prepared for that. So we did poor out there.
But if you're in Boulder, you're killing that shit.
Smash City. You know, the Olympians downtown on 19th and Sherman. I don't care where we were, Alameda and Tejon in that underground spot. Like, house parties. Like, I was just like, give me the mic. Let me recite Timothy White. Pick it outside. You know, I was like, I was ready because I was hungry.
Do you remember, like, your best battle?
I battled Dent and beat him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you remember what you used?
It was rough, bro. I called him. I go, Dent, more like Infident. I was like, badass breath. What I meant was meant to dent. It's like,
Oh, shit.
yeah, dude, it was fucked up, bro. It was fucked up. He didn't know what to do because he was like, I didn't.
Caught him off guard.
Yeah. And I go, well, you're way better than me. I had to.
I had to come correct, right?
I was all massa, sorry, grasshopper, hungry.
You're funny, dog.
Yeah, dude, it was fucked up. And, yeah, in front of everyone. All the fucking
Where was
homies.
this at?
Where was that?
Was it in
at?
Boulder or
no,
was it here?
remember it was at the Tivoli. Remember they used to have stuff at the Tivoli?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or was it at... I'll have to ask him. We bring it up when we run into each other. He's always like, hey, man,
Where
remember?
was, like, some of your best competition coming from? Or there was no competition?
Theme and Adrian and them from WAK. Those guys that hated me. They're good. Because that's Drop, and, you know, they rolled with Drop and hate. Like, Haven and them, they're Tetra, but Tetra and WAK have a lot of crossover because Tetra and WAK that's where Life Crew came about.
Yeah, we kind of were talking about that, but we got off. So kind of explain that whole thing right there.
So back then, in the early 90s, there was a place called the Inferno off of 20th and before Coors Field, right?
When you're going over Park Avenue.
Yeah, or no, right off 20th when you go east from I-25. Now they're like luxury lofts, this and that, but it was an abandoned building called the Inferno. And that's when I used to paint Method before Cosmo. And Jolt used to write Earth back in the day. And so Jolt started writing Jolt. And WAK, you know, was Theme, Main, Psych, and they used to paint, but then like Jolt and like so Tetra back then, it was like Nice, or it was Haven, it was Inspire, it was D, it was Drop, it was
who else? Aries,
Retro, it was yeah. They were the squad. Like OAK was the squad back in the day. They were just down the block doing their thing. We were b-boy oriented. They were skate oriented. But we all had MCs, DJs, and graffiti writers. That's what I always loved about their crew. It was like how Earth and Venus are like, and Mars, they're like sister planets, you know, sister brother planets. Like that's how I always felt their crew was to us. Like just a different version of us. We b-boyed, they skated, sick, you know, and a combination of them and Decca.
Yeah, shout out.
Nasty ass MC. Nasty. One of the nastiest MCs I ever, besides Haven. Because Haven just destroys it, bro. Chris, behind the mic, stupid, bro. You have to play catch up. He's like Lil Wayne. You got to play catch up on his
Oh, he has music for days, bro. I was telling Nice, like, when I used to see him back in the day, he'd give me like 5 or 6 discs at a time, and they all be different.
They all be good.
And he would give it to me every time.
And you'd be like, how the fuck do you make this much good music? I used to trip out on it. Like, cause I was like, I'll fucking battle anybody. And I was like, maybe not him. You know, like, I hope I don't catch him. You know, and I hope I didn't catch Drop either. I used to think, like, I used to secretly be like, look at Dent and Sam and be like, oh, if I catch those two, you guys might have to get me back. You know, like, I always gave it up to them. Fuckers.
So how did that kind of, we were talking Tetra.
They kind of created like a crew, life crew, like just a whole, like a hip hop entendre. To me, MCs, B-boys, DJs, producers, beatboxers, skaters, just a real collective, communal. And that's what hip hop is. It's a platform to be communal. It's like it's our chance to use art and dance and music and life and food to be communal and be together. It's not to be against each other. Sure, we have battles and conflicts and stuff, but in the long run, it makes us better and sharper at what we do. And they created like how LOF was, because
Right.
LOF wanted to be the all styles, everything.
Can we say that LOF was like the original, like Denver, Colorado hip hop crew?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say besides G-Dub right after, I would say that. I would honestly say that. And I'm allowed to say that. Not the original. Because, of course, there's X-Men and, like, when you go way back and Took and when Took, so there's that. But I would say as far as getting out to clubs and repping and graphing, LOF was the first to me, because that's when they wanted Scream and Ark and Moses, and they were like, no. They go, Scream was like, no, Ark and Moses want to start Get With This. I'm with my brother and my cousin.
Right.
And then John, they were LOF, and they took it to heart. Hey, one time, Scream and Ark didn't make it to this battle. It's probably like 94, 95, bro. 96, maybe. 90. It was at Ashland Rec Center. And we met up, straight up, two crews, LOF versus G-Dub. No judges, no spectators, no nothing.
Those are you guys.
Just two crews on a basketball court. Screaming Art didn't show up. They roasted us. I'll chalk that one up. G-Dub, we don't lose, homie.
Right.
Not out here. Not in Colorado. But they got us that round. I'll always remember that. It was a good learning experience. But
why didn't the homies show up?
Trouble. 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 But
did you guys battle LOF again? Like on some shit like that?
not after, because they stopped. I'm not saying they stopped. I'm not saying they fell off. I'm not saying they, but Lalo in like 98, 99, Lalo and Dash brought GWT back. And there was no other crews. Our scenario was dying off. There was GW, so it was GWT, and there was a team in the Springs called TSF, the Springs Finest. That was it for years, till like 2004, until we started teaching in Boulder. You know, at Motion Underground, and then a couple guys broke off from our dance studio, and started affiliated, and like a Boulder crew. And then some guys broke off and went to Fort Collins and started a Fort Collins crew. And then a group of our students from Aurora broke off and created School of Breaking. So, like, we were the apex of the pyramid that created the resurgence in Denver.
Right.
Everyone else left us on our own. We were the ones traveling in 2000, going to Miami, Pro-Ams. We were the ones going to Seattle. I love footwork in Seattle at a freestyle session. I love footworks from Japan. We're an international team. They took it easy on us. We took advantage of it. And then we went up against Havoc Coro from Texas, and they smoked us like we were fucking amateurs. It was embarrassing. But you get it beat, you want to get beat by the Kings, you know?
Right. Hey, let's go back. Do you know how kind of GWT got started? Can you talk about that or not?
Yeah. So I know John is an old school Denver popper. And
that's the one I think we're talking about.
It is,
right?
yeah. He's
if anyone
super
knows
old school.
John.
He's super old school. He's like triple, double,
Yeah.
quantrum OG. He has so many O's in front of his G, in my eyes.
Right.
But like I said, when Scream took me to that hip hop show off 9th and Lincoln, I just remember Total Devastation was playing. I want to get blunted, my brother. Dun, you know, like a real upbeat song. And we saw Fiends and Mars b-boy. and we were just popping.
Right.
So we saw how they were bringing it to the floor with Quick Step was doing head spins. And so Scream goes, fuck that. We're going to start b-boying. We'll pop when we're in our 40s, which is funny because now we're in our 40s.
Right.
And that closet pop. Every b-boy is a closet popper, by the way. Like, you'll catch us in our rooms. Like, so that's when Scream was like, yeah, John John's been showing me how to pop. And he goes, but my brother and my cousin Moses want to start a crew. And he goes, they asked me to be in their crew, but he goes, oh, we're going to do this. And he goes, it's going to be called GWT. Get with this. And then on the same wall where Voice and Jer battled, and Jer painted this picture of a crazy being standing on the shoulders, choking another being out, and it said, a voice is nothing if it can't be heard. So Jer kind of won that battle because Voice and Jer are the kings, you know. It was like Game of Thrones at that point. It was like two an immovable object and an unstoppable force. Like it was like, and that's Year of the Bomb, and that's when Contents had its first store before its second store. But so Ark and Moses came up with Get With This,
Right.
And they painted it on that wall, and then that's how they said we're gonna be the Get With This crew, the G-Dubs, Groovin' World.
Can you tell them how they got the Get With This? You were talking about it the other day. It was a certain song.
It from Black Sheep, it was definitely Get With This, and you could get with that. You could get with this, or you could get with that. But really, when it came down to it, INS was battling NC before Voice and Mars and them were LOF. They were NC, No Claim Crew, Milk, and all them. Do you remember them?
Nah,
Yeah,
I
this
don't.
is
I was in here during that time.
This is the early 90s, yeah. And so INS, I Never Stop, before they were battling NC Crew, Mars, Voice, Milk, before they went to LOF. And they painted a piece because they said it was because of that song. I don't really know how true that is.
Right.
And it was a message to them. Get with this. And they go, that's going to be our graph crew then. Or our breaking crew. Fuck that. We just burned those fools. Get with this. Not only did we have a sick-ass mural, but we sent a message.
Right.
Like, get with this. And so that's how they got it. And then I was just a tag-along forever. But Scream just loved me for some reason. And he always just brought me around.
And you said you were like second generation, right?
Yeah, because it was Scream, Moses, Ark, Sacred. Those guys were already doing it when they started showing me. But they all liked me. They were just like, hey, you're cool. Like, you little weirdo. You know, like, and they just liked like how I was always just ready, you know, and so they threw me down with the crew. And it was, and they just knew I was down to go bombing. Mm-hmm. And they were like, we fucking love it. Like,
now to me, for them to put you down, because GWT is a legendary crew in the city, you know. So for them to put you down with them, you really had to be doing it.
Yeah. No, I was getting burned left and right in circles. What are you gonna do? You know, you got to crash to create. And
right.
But they just loved how I was just.
Sounds like you were down, bro.
Bro, it's called
down for whatever.
It's called DSD1, down since day one. That's what it's called. They were just like, they were like, you didn't know what the fuck was going on, but you were just ready.
What were your like first kind of couple like go-to moves when you first started?
I would always ride the rhythm. Because I used to hip hop dance. So I would always ride the rhythm and like touch the floor and point and like.
So almost kind of like more like a routine, but like a freestyle.
Kind of mostly a freestyle, but I would like just piss people off.
How was that?
Like I'd rhythmatically like make fun of them like on the floor.
Okay. Like on some Beat Street shit where they're kind of doing the little, you know what I mean?
Where they point at each other and this and that, and then Screaming them had the like more powerful momentum moves. Everyone had we all had our little niche.
Little go-tos.
Yeah, and then like, you know, we picked up, you know, it was mostly graphing and MCing for me through the 90s. I was mostly Rhyme Squadron with Dent and Sam, and mostly graphing with OAK, my crew. And I would just b-boy on the side just because I thought it was fun. And, you know, we're high on coke at the club. So, but then in the late 90s, Lalo and Dash, they started dancing again at the clubs, and they started getting everyone back together.
And you guys would go to like the regular like nightclub, right?
Yep. Straight up tracks, church. You know, we would
Where they play hip hop.
yeah, or electro, because we'd listen to, because back then it was techno, before it was 90 different genres of electro music. So it was more of a you know, that head jacking Chicago house style.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Funk. You know, so you know, it was kind of an 808 rhythm. So you could b-boy to house, and you could pop to house. So we would just go out and groove. And that's back when they were DJ Dan and DJ Carlos and Bad Boy Bill. They'd throw cassette tapes out into the crowd. And that's like we were talking about.
Right.
You had to call to get them at points. You'd show up there. They'd be like, all right, you guys are kind of cool. You guys, all right, here, go here. And you go to another map points. And then next thing you know, one time Scream took me to this rave called Eden. And it was in a dry riverbed out by the Mile High Flea Market, out like, you know, almost Commerce City, almost Brighton. And it was this huge...
The Arsenal.
It was like this huge, almost, no, north of it. North of the Arsenal, like by the, north of the flea market. But it was a dry riverbed about probably as wide as to the refrigerator to this wall.
Yeah.
And it was probably like 20 feet high. But they had a live DJs with a live drummer, and it was so sick. And it was called Eden. It was completely illegal.
Some crazy shit.
And we brought cardboard from our car.
I was gonna say, how did you b-boy? Because you're kind of in some dirt or in some sand riverbed.
Yeah, so we brought cardboard and we were breakdancing in front of the drummer, and he was painted all blue. Like, this is years before the Blue Man Project.
Right.
Like, he was painted
Maybe
all
he
neon.
was a Blue Man, original.
Maybe he Blue Man originally. But it was just cool, you know. Back then it was so raw. It was so it was such a grind against. It was such a, you know, like, we didn't learn to b-boy in dance studios. We learned on cardboard. We learned downtown.
In the garage, outside,
yeah, in the garage. We learned
fucking parking lot.
And then, like, when we started teaching at dance studios, we were like, you little fucking chumps have it made. We would go to Cali. We would travel and come back with VHS tapes of competitions and study them to learn how to, you know.
On your Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, and then nowadays,
It's all about the internet.
and so you could advance so fast, but we had to travel. We would use rent-a-cars, planes, trains. We used to take the Greyhound, and we would go to these competitions and just lose tremendously. But everyone would be like, "Fuck yeah, that's that
gang of knowledge."
But everyone would be like, "Oh fuck yeah, that's that little Denver team. I remember you. Oh fuck, you guys fucking what's the oceans like in Denver?" And we'd be like, "What?" And then everyone would be like, "Where the fuck is Denver?" We'd be like, "Bro, we're in Colorado." And they'd be like, and fools would be like,
John Elway, fool.
yeah, and fools would be like, "Oh fuck yeah." Where the fuck is Colorado? They'd be asking the homie next to him.
That's funny.
And
though.
then after a couple years of us popping up in LA, Miami, these West Coast, like Energetic and Little Rock and them, they were like, "Nah, bro, you guys aren't staying at Travel Lodge. Don't go pay that shit. You're coming. You guys, hey, bro, this is the third time we seen you guys out of state." And that's that communal part of hip hop that I'm talking about. Not only did, like, when I started, did like Scream and them take me in after people took him in, but as GWT, as we got national, the national teams took us in. So there's layers of communal, you know, which is really cool to see.
Right.
Because now I have a couch anywhere I go in this country. And it's not because I'm not going around fighting dudes over chicks. No, I'm over here building and painting, sleeping on couches because of hip hop, bro.
Exactly.
Real hip hop. And that's the best part with GWT is I got to travel with Fate, Dash, Lalo, Kid Cruz, Ray Ray, I've known them all since I was 14. We're all the same. We're 3 different graph crews that stuck with breaking. ABS, INS, OAK. And so that's why GWT is so special, is because just like when I was here last week, when TCA was talking about TCAF, TCA family, they get together for barbecues and stuff. It's not just painting. And that's GWT too. When we were, we were at each other's houses, mowing each other's lawns, like, at every other sister's birthday.
Right. Just some real family shit.
Yeah, and then we take road trips and go battle and win or lose together, but we did it as a family. And that was the most special part is I got to live a dream.
Nah, for real. You definitely...
I got to travel and dance and compete.
Be on the road and compete and break dance,
for years,
bro,
with all the guys I grew up with since middle school.
What do you think of the term B-boy? Is that offensive to you?
That's actually the term, because when people say breakdance, that's actually a term the media coined for commercial purposes, because
I actually I watched the Drink Champs the other night with Crazy Legs, and he said some lady kind of coined that phrase because she, you know what I mean?
Breakdance?
Yeah, he said they kind of get offended to it sometimes.
Yeah, bro, we don't breakdance, we b-boy. Fuck, dude. And now this new school street jazz is called hip-hop dance. No, that's street jazz. That's the Shark and the Jets. That's been around. Fucking dickheads. What it's called is cultural appropriation. And I don't know if you're familiar with cultural appropriation, but
Real quick is they don't want to come up with their own stuff and be original. They want to take something else and flip it a little and then call it their own new genre.
And that's completely what cultural appropriation is, because guess what? Yoga was not designed to be sold in a dance studio to people of a higher tax bracket. That's not what yoga was designed for. Yoga was designed for mental health and meditation. It was not meant to be sold. Neither was hip-hop. Okay? Mm-hmm. And what the media did, because this is a capitalistic society, and so what the media did to hip-hop is they go, oh, music, we can make CDs and sell it. Boom. Oh, artwork, we could tangibly put it on canvases and put it in galleries and sell it. DJing, we could have shows and we can make music.
Control the radios.
Exactly. And then we could make money off of people paying for commercials.
Exactly.
So b-boying, the term b-boy comes from because you were a Bronx boy. And that's where it started. 2 guys named the Nigga Twins in the early 70s, mid 70s, they took disco dancing down to the floor. 2 dudes. Their name was the Nigga Twins. They were 2 black dudes, twins from the Bronx. So few years of that, they would do it when it was the breakdown of the beat, like Apache, jump on it. Mm-hmm. Well, the breakdown was a dum 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 dum. When you were
instrumental part.
Yeah, and you were just at your breaking point, and you had to break out of your shell. And that's because you're a break boy, you're a Bronx boy, you're a b-boy. That's where that comes from. Because you break out of your shell, you're a Bronx boy, you're a b-boy, you the breakdown. That's where that term break comes from it. And then some reporter was like, yeah, break dancing, because she heard break down, and it looks like it breaks your back. So she just, and that's where breakdancing came from, but it's not called breakdancing, it's called b-boying. 100%. All day, every day. You could call it breakdancing all you want, but you could also call the Northside Highlands. You could call like,
my mind.
You know what I mean?
Still the motherfucking north.
Yeah, dog, it's the nutty block. Like you could call, it's just what it is. And it's not offensive if you say I'm a breakdancer, because you know what? If you just don't know, you don't know. But it's not okay to call someone a nigger just because you don't know. There's offensive, like in certain cultures, throwing up thumbs up is fuck you, like in the UK. And we're over there running around like, hey,
what's up?
Yeah,
double thumbs
double
up.
Fuck you, So it's like, but that's where hip hop is communal, because it's universal, because graffiti art in the UK, Germany, the U.S., Brazil, the hip hop, DJing, the MCing, the b-boying, it's communal. It's universal. It's the same language. It's from the people for the people. So what they did to b-boying is they culturally appropriated it, and there was no way to tangibly sell. They couldn't make a CD, they couldn't sell a canvas, and they couldn't have a so there was no way to tangibly sell b-boys. So they hired Crazy Legs and all them to do all this fancy shows and this and that, and then for about 6 years they just fucking kicked them to the curb because there was no tangible way to make capitalistic money off of that version of hip-hop.
Right.
So that's when b-boying died out in the U.S. Well, guess what? Storm and all them took all they bought all the turtlenecks out of this shop in New York, like completely disrespected the whole New York hip hop community as far as breakdancing went. Because Storm, they were rich Europeans, and they bought all the turtlenecks, the whole shop. They bought the shop, so no one could get those same breakdancing turtlenecks. And they went over to Europe for about 4 or 5 years, and they just exploded hip hop. Because over there, if you got in trouble for fighting, they put you in breakdance classing. If you got in trouble for vandalizing, they put you in artwork class. If you got,
Yeah, they had like interventions almost.
They embraced a hip hop culture as, wow, this is a chance for our youth to have a second renaissance. And that was that was 90. Mm-hmm. So when they came back over in 92, 91 for the Zulu anniversary, and they were just fucking destroying the breakdance floor, fucking destroying graffiti murals, that's when 92 became the year of the bomb for the U.S. And that's when it just...
Everything just took off, huh?
Yeah, because we were like, hold on a second. This is a U.S. culture. Hip-hop? I started in the Bronx, Holmes. This is a U.S. culture from the people for the people. As grassroots and as guerrilla garden as it gets. We created something from nothing.
Exactly.
Unga bunga, I make fire. Straight up. And I love it. I love the story, and like I love being a part of it, because in the early 90s we would take the RTD to go to hip hop battles, and we were wearing the baggiest clothes. It was stupid. And we had backpacks hanging down to our butt cheeks and but it was a golden era of creativity, and it was an age of adventure, because the 80s, like getting a sandwich and riding your bike around with a flashlight. No, the 90s were crawling around freeways and crawling around tunnels and freight yards. So the 90s to me with hip hop still had that 80s
feel,
adventure of
adrenaline.
Yeah, and the world is out there, and I'm feral at this moment, not lamenting about the past and not imagining about the future. You're when you're bombing, or when you're breaking, when you're b-boying or MCing. I can't speak for DJing because I don't really DJ, but it's called affinity, not infinity with an I. It's affinity with an A.
Explain.
And that's completely in the moment. No thought, no lamenting of the past, and no imagining about the future. You're completely caught in the now. And it's really hard to do. It's really hard to do. Because even in the back of my head, I'm thinking about my dog at home. I was thinking about, did I fuck something up? And that's what it is we let all these distractions. It's hard, but it's called affinity. And I remember points of affinity when I was b-boying, because b-boying, it's like tap. It's a spotlight dance. Look at me, here I go. It's like this.
Look what I'm doing.
Yeah, and you have to be completely in the moment, or you're gonna snap your finger. Just like martial arts, like how Bruce Lee talks about being caught in the moment. Mm-hmm. That's along the same lines.
Gotcha.
He's it's a martial art, because you have to be. Yeah, so I mean, we would we would go all over. We'd win, we'd lose. One time this team from Garden City, Kansas came out here, and Garden City, Kansas is the biggest trailer park in the nation. Mm-hmm. And I used to live on 38th and Meade, And we were like, who the fuck are you guys? Where's Garden City, Kansas? And then we were looking it up, and they were like, yeah, it's like 2000 fucking 4. And they were like, yeah, we're staying at Motel 6. Da, da, da. And I was like, guys, nah. Me and my boy got our house. We're cooking. Like, come over, guys, you know. And just like those Cali crews took us in.
For sure.
We took those guys in from Garden City, Kansas. And, like, it just pays forward. And, you know, now our students have students who have students. And
like, have students.
Yeah, you know, like I said, we were the apex of the pyramid back in the late 90s and 2000s. And we started a bunch of other crews. I used to live in the Avondales on Colfax and Irving. Mm-hmm. And we used to go dance at the Spot. And we started teaching breaking classes at General Juvenile Probation. And this guy, Kevin, was taking the classes. And he was like, there's no way this stupid fucking teacher is going to be better than those guys at the Spot.
Right.
And I walk in. Me and my boy Fate, and he goes, oh, fuck, it's those dudes from the Spot. He's Kid Cruz. He's sponsored by Red Bull. I took him off the street. Was like, no, you're living with me this year. Like, until you get a job, until we do this competition. Like,
no, that's dope, man.
I took him in. Now he's sponsored by Red Bull, has a kid. He's doing well. Like,
hell yeah.
Kid Cruz.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about b-boying, though, because you said there is a difference. Like, popping and locking are two different things.
Sure.
Can you explain to him?
Sure. So there's b-boying, which is more like ground moves and like,
hitting the flow.
Yeah. And then there's even like a dance called turfing. And it's like a style of a mix of b-boying and street jazz. That's here nor there. But b-boying's more like floor moves where spin moves, more acrobatic. But popping and locking are definitely two different genres. And
because everyone thinks they're the same.
They do. And, you know, that's common. You know, like people.
That's why we're here to let them know.
People say football in America and it's soccer. Whatever. Potato, tomato. But, so popping has to do more with. And popping actually came from the Bay, which a lot of people don't know. It came from the Yay area. It came from the Bay. It's like. It straight up is unique to the Bay Area, and a lot of people don't know that. But it has to do with more like waves and like the way your body can pop, or
like you're talking the ticks, like you said,
like
the
ticks. There's pops.
There's more than
hits.
one type, right?
Yeah, there's waves.
Explain it.
There's tuts where you do like King Tut styles where boxes, and there's waves where it's completely just waves. There's ticks where you just tick. There's strobes where you act like you're in a strobe light and you're running towards first base. There's hits where you're like where your body just
flexing. You're flexing it, yeah.
Like you're gang banging on someone almost in a way. And then there's like pops where you like pop. There's so many different styles, but popping came from the Bay around the same time in the early '70s, where all of this just there's no TV, it's all Soul Train,
right?
Is where it mostly got translated from side to side on left coast, west coast, third coast, Houston. It's but Lock-In has to do more from L.A. because a guy named Don Campbell Locke. It was a more singular style of funk dancing that had these really tight ways of locking your arms, your elbows, and your knees. Mm-hmm. And it was called locking. And that was like you were saying, more rerun.
Yeah, if you're old school, what's happening? Rerun used to do the. Yeah, and he does it in a couple of videos too. I mean, he does it in like a DJ Quick video. And,
yeah. And if you watch Soul Train, there's a lot of locking on Soul Train, but there's a lot of popping too. And so it was cool. It's cool to see that how b-boying from the Bronx, popping and locking all became a part of an urban dance genre,
right?
Well, which was hip hop.
And what's crazy is you see it in the movies too.
Yeah.
In Beach Street, you see him hitting the floor.
Yeah.
Full on battles.
Yeah, and some fools are breaking, some fools are b-boying, some are locking. Like Mr. Wave gets in there,
right?
And nobody does. You know, he created the style. And then some guys are locking a lot, mostly b-boying because of the momentum moves.
The movie Breaking,
where it went to the West Coast
and locking.
Yeah, where it was mostly popping and locking, because on the West Coast it was more. Either way, there's a lot of punk rock style roots with the way they dressed, but Beat Street was definitely more b-boying, where breaking and Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo, well, they were definitely more poppin' and lockin' based because poppin' and lockin' is West Coast.
Was the scene in the West?
Yeah, yeah, and like they shared, you know, because cultures clash and collide, and people build and people travel, and you know, it became by the 80s is when it was mixed together.
Right.
It took a decade. It took because in the early 70s is when the Nigga Twins, I'm talking 73. That's when they started hitting disco dance into the floor. That's when people started doing waves and popping and stuff. Soul Train. And then that's when Lock-In came out. And then, you know, over about 6-7 years is when it all started meshing. And that's when the movies came out. And that's when it became part of capitalistic America. Mm-hmm. Because then it became something tangible you could sell. My movie about hip-hop. So, you know, that's where the cultural appropriation comes in. Mm-hmm. And that's where they started just...
Hey, but it educated us because we would
really
have never
did.
seen it.
It really did.
If they didn't do that shit, if they didn't have Beat Street and Electric, you know, breaking all that shit,
Yeah.
fucking colors and all that shit, we would have still been kind of...
And if
If a
lot of people didn't have yoga, a lot of people would lose their minds or be less in shape. Because yoga is great for people, but we did culturally appropriate it and like sell it. We sell it. And it's designed for, you know, and hip hop wasn't, in my opinion, wasn't meant to be sold. But I'm glad people can make music or money off of it as long as it's the artist.
It's taking a lot of people out of the streets and not just like rap, but everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Artists, dancers.
Yep. Everything.
Musicians.
DJs, you name it. Fucking fashion artists, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Weed growers, fucking lowrider builders, you know what I mean? The fucking...
Chefs, you know.
Yeah.
There's hip hop snacks now. Have you seen those?
Yeah. You were talking earlier, like within b-boying though, there's all kinds of different, you know what I mean? Like you were breaking it down about like kind of like what we just did with the pop and the different styles. What kind, is there all kind of, explain some of the styles of b-boying.
Wow. It's beautiful because different parts of the country really came out with different, because when b-boying came back to the U.S. in the late 90s and the 90s, because the year of the bomb, I mean, it fucking exploded, made COVID look lazy.
Right.
I'm talking, even Denver, we went into craze, you know? And it's cool because, so the East Coast teams, they kept more of a traditional style of hand movements and footwork and more, I don't want to say basic. The West Coast will say it's basic. The East Coast will say the West Coast don't ride the beat enough. But it was like the West Coast was like super innovative as far as like creativity, momentum, moves, physicality.
Who are the cats,
And then Texas just took both.
who are the cats that really killed it, that took it to the next level? The cats that wear the masks.
Oh, Jabberwockies.
Jabberwockies.
Yeah.
Where are they from?
So they're from all over California. And one of the coolest things about Jabberwockies and GWT is when we started teaching at Motion Underground up in Boulder, every year they would have like a hip-hop dance festival, and they would have all these professional dancers from the West Coast come out and do like
like tutorials.
Yeah, exactly.
Like little
you'd
seminars.
You'd pay and you'd show up, and one of them was Gary Kendall, and sick ass b-boy, sick ass hip hop dancer. I mean, I'm talking legendary. He taught the guys that taught everyone on the West Coast that are in a dance video, like all the little girl and Missy Elliott that's older now. He taught all the dudes that taught the people that taught her when she was a little kid.
Gotcha.
Yeah, triple OGs. So that year we went out to battle dance and we had our choreography. Is because Gary Kendall came out for the last 3 years and helped us learn choreo. We would just hit the floor and he goes, no. He goes, you guys go on your hands. And
You gotta have a little routine.
He goes, more artsy, less
street.
technical.
Okay.
And so he broke it down like ice skating, technical versus art. And we were like, oh, okay. So we went out to battle dance, and he was kind of our secret coach, and that's when we fucking dusted everyone, and Furious Styles beat us out, but we took third in a competition where you had to apply to get in. It's on TV. We beat Air Force crew, fucking international crew. Everyone underestimated us.
Right.
So Gary Kendall is one of the founding members. So, since he coached us through that, when you get into GWT, we go old school and we get you a belt buckle and a belt.
Right.
We got silver, motherfucker. I got my Cosmo. I got my OAK. I
remember seeing Fate with one.
I got my GWT. We all have them. When you get your stripes, that's your stripes. That's your stripes. You're on the lineup.
Okay.
You earned your winner. Yeah. So, since Gary battled with us a couple times and helped us get so far with Battle Dance, when he came to Colorado a few months later, we showed up to the dance studio with the GWT belt for him.
Dope.
Guess who's a founding member of Jabberwockies?
He is?
Gary Kendall. So he, the first year they were in America's Best Dance Crew, they designated that whole season to their fallen crew member who passed away.
Man.
Gary Kendall. He's in GWT, Jabberwockies.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we are linked. Like,
and those cats are still like doing it big. They were, I mean,
yeah, and he's
in the baby video.
Yeah,
the baby.
He was the original founding member, and he's Jabberwockies and GWT when he passed away.
R.I.P.
He has the belt. He has the belt. You don't know what it means to get that belt, because that's old school hip hop, Steez.
For real. It's like getting the vest.
Bro, it's just like getting the vest. Look at my hair standing up right now. I'm freaking out. I remember when I got my belt, bro.
Do you remember that shit?
Fuck yeah,
Talk about
dude.
that shit,
Fuck
bro.
yeah, dude. Ray and Epi, Dash and Fate. Fate wasn't even in GW yet. I got into GW. We had to earn our way in. Dash and Lalo goes, everybody's in the crew. Who wants stripes? Everybody wants in. You know, there's 15 people trying to be GW.
I know.
You know, because we were the cool kids. Lalo was like, we're the fucking B-boys, homie. This is a B-boy crew. We're boogie boys. We're gonna boogie. Like, and Lalo and Dash, I gotta hand it down to them, dude. They made me fucking earn it, dude. I was like, send me in. They go, we'll go in. They're like, you always
take that initiative.
Yeah, and they were like, you suck, but you're always down to go in. They're like, that's so tight, but you're actually better than last week. And after a couple weeks, they were like, yeah, you're down. But when Lalo and Dash and them really put the crew back together in 2000, when we got like professional, I showed up and Ray, Epi, Lalo, and Dash had a belt for me.
Nice.
I started punching the air. I was, and then at our neck, because we would have meetings and we would vote on things and where are we going this month? Like Cali, are we going? Who's going where? Who's in the battle? Who's on what? We would have meetings because we were, and I remember a meeting. I was like, hey guys, I want to put a vote up. I want Fate to get a belt. I go, everyone's hands up, yay or nay. Everyone goes, yay. And I voted Fate in. Even though we've been G'd up since we were kids, the 90s, but in 2000 we got serious and a
whole different ball game.
And then yeah, it was crazy. And that's when we got good because we pushed each other. You are who you hang around, and they were high caliber dancers, so I got good. And I just mostly rode the beat and kind of had some special tricks and I can make it to the semis and knock some people out and let the boys take it home.
Kind of like some Karate Kid.
Yeah, dude, yeah.
And go fuck a couple fools up, take them out early, and then they go in and
sweep
clean
the
it all
leg,
up.
Johnny. Sweep the leg. Yeah, I would go in. I would go in and sweep the leg. But it was cool because we had, there, at a point in time there was 10, 12 of us, and so we would do GWT, and then we would enter as groundwork technicians, ghetto wrecking thugs, groovin' world. On the phone, GWT is 498. So we'd enter as the 49ers. There'd be 5 3-on-3 GWT teams.
Nice.
5 other 3-on-3s, Fort Collins.
Did you ever end up battling each other?
All the time.
In the finals?
All the time.
What was that like, though? Because you're going to be talking shit if your crew wins against,
dude,
another 3-man team in your crew.
Brutal, because if you slip, You got to hear about it tomorrow.
Exactly.
Oh, the worst, bro. Because I was never the worst, but I was never the best. So it's like sometimes I did like B plus, but sometimes I did some D minuses.
It happens, man, all the time.
Well, it's hard too when it's in front of 700 people.
Oh, for sure, brother.
You know, like that's hard because it's you want to perform. It's a pride thing. You know, like there's a lot to it when you're battling with B-boy, and you have to have a game plan. It's a chess match. You have to have breath control. You can't get excited and forget.
Can't use up all your energy.
No, you can't blow your wad. So what Gary Kendall taught us is when you go in and someone does a 5, you go in and do a 6 or a 7, but you save your 8. You know, if someone goes in and does a 2 out of 10, you go in and do a 3 or 4, but you save your 5 and your 6. Someone does a 5, you go do your 6 or your 7, but you save your 8, your 9. And if someone does 8 or 9, pull out your 10. You're done.
Right.
And then live to fight another day. But and see, that's so Gary Kendall helped us get super structured. But yeah, Jabberwocky's like
Why you killing it, bro?
that first season of America's Best Dance Crew. They dedicated it to their fallen team member Gary Kendall. But yeah, dude, he was GWT.
So I gotta ask you a question, man. I gotta ask you a couple. We haven't hit this yet, but you knew Skape pretty good, and you knew Preach. He said he was your cousin, right?
Yeah.
What was that like, kind of growing up with them, man? Because they're kind of like graffiti, you know.
Icons.
There you go.
Definitely.
They're definitely
on the wall at the
Exactly.
American Foreign Legion.
You know what I want to say, but but icons is a good word, and I try to use that because I don't really try to call anyone like a legend. You know what I mean? But they're definitely on that Mount Rushmore of bombing, man. Like,
yeah. So Skape.
What was it like growing, or what was it like, kind of like,
Skape and Lalo went to Clear Lake off of like 76th and Pecos. Dash and I went to Scott Carpenter, which is off 70th and Pecos. So we're OAK, they're ODK, but we all grew up breaking together.
So my Skape b-boyed as well?
Yeah, everybody did back then. Everybody. Like everyone wrote, everyone braked, everyone was rhyming.
They just kind of ventured off into their own niche.
Yeah. So that was back in the day. You just did it all. It seemed like. So Lalo and Skape and them, they started their crew, ODK and OAK, and ODK actually battled for a couple summers. I fucked up, bro, and it was on 80th and Pecos, and we saw an ODK tag, and we were like, fuck that. That's way too close to OAK. And so I fucking slashed it. And then I come to realize it was Skape, Lalo, Cape, like all the homies, bro.
Oh, shit.
Like the other side of INS that went to their graph crew. I was like, Merc and Dash and everyone, it was too late. They challenged us. They were like, who can get up the most? But we were like 20 deep because we were like a popular crew, and they were like 6 deep. But
all straight bombers.
But the foos were like, it was Skape and Cape and Lalo, Bale. Like, fuck, dude. Like writers, not taggers, not hip hop heads. These motherfuckers were writers. You know what I mean? And you know the difference. A real writer versus someone who tagged. Like, I'm not a real writer, but I paint, I tag a little, but I'm not writing.
Right.
I'm not active. I'm
not out there.
Exactly.
There's more than just like, like, I wouldn't say 24/7, but.
Dude, I could take freestyles, do IMC? Hell no. But I'm platinum in the shower, good acoustics.
Hell yeah.
And then so that's my history with Skape. And I always stood close with them because Skape never dissed nobody. Like, he was never like a dick. Right. He was cold and he was stern. But he was funny. Like, But he was just like, I don't know, man. He just reminded me like Benny from The Sandlot, man. Just like cooler than, he's just the other side of the pillow type shit.
Right. So it's a cool ass motherfucker.
So Preach isn't my cousin.
Okay.
But we grew up as cousins because he was with Shannon for fucking like 7 years, and Shannon's my second cousin. And that was through the late 90s, mid-late 90s into the 2000s. So we just told everyone we were cousins. Mid-2000s, they broke up. Everyone, so him and I just treated each other as cousins.
Gotcha.
Because I knew him, hung out with him, went and ate tacos rapidos with him every week. You know, I went to the mall with him. You know, like, him and I were cousins. Mm-hmm. So, yes, he is my cousin, but that's what he was with my second cousin, Shannon, for about 7-8 years.
Gotcha.
But growing up with him, fuck, I remember when he started painting. I was like, oh, shit, cool. And so I gave him a bunch of my old drawings. I gave him, like, everything. And he took my shit and ran with it and fucking made it way better. And then he got this, like, Cali style he added to it. Like a SoCal.
That's San Diego.
Yeah, that, and because I got lucky because I grew up through the early 90s. I grew up next to this guy, David, who wrote with a different RTD from Commerce City that wasn't Jer and them. Mm-hmm. And he is sick. And so he taught me all kinds of shit. So I just advanced myself super fast because he's my neighbor and he saw me paint and he was like, what the fuck? You paint graffiti? So I gave a lot of that to Preach and he took it and ran with it. And that's when he really took everything that I gave him, all my drawings and everything, and just took them and made them all his own little language. Which is dope because everywhere he painting stuff, I was like, showed you that. I showed you how to do that. You know, the drop shadow where like it looks like it's peeled off.
Okay.
When he would do that, I was like, showed you that.
Oh yeah.
You know, but at the end, I'm still glad I had both of those two in my life. Mm-hmm. Because no matter how it ended or what they did to people or whatever people say or anything, I'm a better me because I grew up with them.
Nah, that's dope, bro. And that's what friends are supposed to do. They're supposed to make you better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, because not everybody got to grow up with them and, like, build with them and be able to share with them and go eat chicken wings.
All that good shit.
Make fun of each other's shoes and shit. Like, you know, things you'll never be able to rewrite or
relive or imitate or emulate or anything, bro.
Yeah, you know, like I remember Preach and I, we worked at this shop called is in the Westminster Mall. It's called it was a rave hip hop skate shop. But we used to work there. It was funny in like '99, and I think he got fired. And then my buddy Chris, last name Carnes,
okay,
was like, "Hey, I need a job," and I was like, him and I we played a Nintendo 64 GoldenEye all the time, and we smoked swag weed with big old stems and seeds. Take us 20 minutes to break it up before we could roll it.
You're talking about DJ Chris Kearns, right?
Chris Carnes, yeah, DJ Vajra, bro. I go, I need someone to work with me, dude. I gotta hire somebody. And I go, dude, you could totally bring up one of your turntables and set it on the counter, and we have a TV. I'll bring my Nintendo 64. So he would sit there. We'd sell skate shoes, rave shirts, like all type of sequenced and see-through, and like we build skate decks and was it Shifties? What was it called? And we would play GoldenEye, and that's where he learned his hamster and gerbil scratch, and like and then yeah, dude, it was dope because I was at the birth. You know, I saw
that's crazy.
Yeah, I saw like DJ Vajra's egg crack, and I saw the little like version, right? You know, and he was like, "Look, I got it, a double click flare."
Right.
He was all single click flare, a double click flare, a triple click flare, quadruple. He was
hilarious.
all gerbil. Look, he goes hamster. And he would go over the differences of it, and I was like, nobody else was getting this knowledge.
He's definitely a Kobe Bryant of his craft. Like,
absolutely.
Practicing nonstop, probably till fucking who knows, probably, you know, in the morning, just
talk about a real life Doogie Howser.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and like he really, and that's when I was traveling around like at hip hop parties, and Chones would be like, "Fuck, Cos, will you help me carry in my crates?" I'd be like, "Hell yeah, bro!" You know, and I help Chones like carrying his crates. He'd be like, "You gonna hit the mic tonight?" I'd be like, "Fuck yeah, is that cool?" He'd be like,
"Yeah,
of course, bro." Everyone, yeah. But that's that era, which is dope because Chones went more media oriented, and Vajra went more battle oriented. So that was cool to see the different lanes that DJs could take from the 90s, you know, because I literally carried in crates and crates of record for Chones. But before he was on the radio, for house parties, but I also was at Vajra's first battles when the DMCs were hot every summer.
Right.
And
Denver's had some dope ass DJs, bro.
Shake, fucking.
He said Jones, Cisco Rockwell,
Cisco. I mean, Tense.
Yeah, DJ Tense.
I taught those classes at Denver Juvenile Probation. I taught with Tense. He taught DJing.
Nice.
He's the one who taught me how to cue records.
And I'm sure there's a bunch we're missing. Don't get mad. But
of course. Like, but I mean, like,
fast forward.
DJ Psycho is
Yeah.
OAK's, and now he's Chef David, and he runs El Chingon right off of 15th and the frontage road. Prost Brewery is like on 20th, and then there's that on the right, going south on the right where those nice shops. It's the North Side Market, but El Chingon moved there. He's DJ Psycho to us, you know, because
that's crazy, bro. You're in so many fucking circles, bro.
Yeah. And,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, like so,
Jones, like you said, Vajra, like fucking
Stretch.
You know,
Stretch was LOF, but he always grew up. He always hung out with GWT.
He's GWT now.
No, he's not GWT.
No?
That motherfucker's LOF, dude.
Okay.
And like, we used to always be like, "Why do you just roll with us everywhere? You grew up with Epi. How can you roll with us everywhere? Be our DJ, our jams? How could you just do everything with us and be LOF?" But that's kind of what Dash and Lalo and them were saying. How can you do everything G-Dub, and be Rhyme Squadron? But I was like, no, it was not LOF.
Right.
And they were like, well, that's why we never said anything. But like Stretch, Stretch, dude, when we were little kids, he used to do head spins with a helmet. Fucking hilarious, bro.
Did you know Cody Beasley by chance?
Yeah, Cody. Those are the North Glen B-boys.
Yeah.
So when Lalo,
I did a podcast with him like about a month ago, and he was telling me about all his mom's garage and having everyone over and just wild shit.
So when Lalo and Dash got GWT back together, they were going to Thornton High School, and there was a crew. It was Lenny, Cody. What was their crew? UHS. They had a crew called UHS. So it was like us, LOF, UHS. LOF fell off, disappeared. Maybe not disappeared, but they just weren't
doing anything.
Repping for Stripes. UHF kind of fell off, disappeared, but there was a crew called Crazy Crew at Thornton, and they were mostly power moves. And Lalo and Al Capone and Dash and them got them to be GWT. And that's when we came back in 2000 and just started smashing, because they were a bunch of white boys with all these power moves, and we were all like hella hood fools with stilo style, footwork, tricks, boom, 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 boom. You know, so the combo of our two crews as GWT, fucking, we just started smashing shit, and then Al Capone went back to LOF, and LOF kind of came back, but didn't really come back because none of them got along. And as far as the breaking side, the b-boy side, yeah, but like when it came down to it in like the 2010s or whatever, Fiends really talked to like Ray Ray and Dash and Fate. I mean, it was like, yo, I don't want no bad blood. There's always been this like beef between our two crews, like this rivalry.
Beef, but not beef, right?
Well, it's like the Hatfield and McCoys. There is no LOF without GWT. There is no GWT without LOF. I feel like in some weird, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like, but not like that kind of Hatfield and McCoy rivalry. But I feel like we both exist still because of each other. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, I want you to know that you guys held it down on the b-boy circuit for a long time for Denver.
Who's this real quick? Let me see.
That's Ray Ray.
Right, okay. Some little video I put out back in the day.
And so Ray Ray and like Fate and Lalo were like our captains. Like we kind of like layered our shit like we were captains, you know. Uh-huh.
I lost it, brother. I'm gonna try to find it again.
I would always try to lead the B team. Mm-hmm. We would put an A team, a B and a C with a little couple, like we mix each other up.
Here and there.
Like we were saying, the fullback block, you know, to get the running back through, or I would, you know, sweep the leg, and then Ray Ray and them would take. We just wanted G-Dub with the victory.
Right.
I don't give
all about the team.
Yep.
Almost like I was thinking too when they do like the Tour de France, how they have the team.
Yeah, like the Peloton and stuff. We really did stack it like that because we used to go to Texas.
See, there's tents right there. Oh, you missed it again. Here, watch. Here, watch.
Was that Spencer?
Yeah. You gotta check it out real quick. Got the homie Heiser hitting some shit up. We got DJ Tents in that fucking Al Wilson jersey.
Oh, because I grew up with Dustin too.
Got Spence.
Tents' older brother, Vocab.
Okay.
I grew up with Vocab. That's why I'm so close with Tents.
Okay.
Bro, I'm fucking old school.
I'm telling you, bro, you know fucking everybody.
Yeah, dude. I see Dustin and Tents, dude. It's like we can't even hug each other enough, bro. I love those guys, bro. Adam and Dustin, like, yeah, dude. Those guys, they're fucking just like in a world of not good people. Those guys are good dudes. Like
this is all about like 10, 15 years old, but I used to put together these DVDs and shit like that. You know what I mean? A different hip hop shit.
So you probably have like Sid Fly all up in there.
Oh, yeah,
and
he's been on a bunch of my music, bro. Like Sid's the homie.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely know a gang of motherfuckers in the city and definitely been a part of a lot of history, man.
Yeah, like Spoken Words. Mm-hmm. Hector?
Yeah.
Bro. He was a little ass kid when I was in high school. He was in 9th grade, dude. The motherfucker used to rob his uncles. They're drug dealers, and he'd come to school and like hand out hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get to be cool, because he thought, you know, he was in 9th grade and we were in 11th grade. Mm-hmm. He just wanted to be cool, and so he would hand out a bunch of money, and I remember I was always like, bro, you don't got to give me money to be the homie. You're cool, Holmes. Like little Hector, little motherfucker. And I never took money from him, and now that he's spoken word and he's fucking kicking rhymes in English and Spanish like a champ, a few years back he was like, I always remembered that you never took my money to be my friend.
It's crazy.
So he was like, spoken word. He told me that, dude. He was like, I always remember that. He was like, because he was 14, I was 17, so they were trying, you know, And all the homies were just taking stacks of cash from him. Like, hell yeah, dude. Because he would come to school with like 10 stacks. Stole it from his uncle. Out of his shoebox in the closet.
His uncle hears this.
Yeah,
Bro.
bro.
Get him.
Oh, dude. It's too late. Yeah, dude. But I used to always be like, Hector, bro. I go, you know what? Because I worked at this restaurant on 70th and Pecos. So I was proud. Like, I got my own money.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw everyone taking his money, like being like, "Oh, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go get some shoes," and not even like caring about him. And I was like,
That's usually how it goes, bro.
"Yeah," and I was like, "Nah, my family taught me better, you know."
I got parents.
Yep. And so,
Chris Rock reference right there.
and that's why I told you earlier, I have a father and I have a mother. I don't have a mom or a dad. Parental units, or
Providers.
we fucking talk to each other every day. We make fun. I moon my mom every day. We live together. And I make sure and sneak up and like hide. And so I moon her every morning. It's fucking hilarious, bro. And then, because I caught her hiding around the wall to try to scare me. Like about, let's see, my sister had me move back there about 6 years ago. And I caught her like 3 times trying to scare me. And I was like, Mom, you're fucking funny. So I moon her like every day.
You're crazy.
It's funny. So I'm close. But yeah. So I always worked. But yeah, Hector used to come to school with like stacks of hundreds, just pass them out. It was a trip, bro. It was like paid in full, but on some real shit, like. And yeah,
no
it was
comment.
No, I swear,
I
dude.
I believe you.
Fucking, he's at the Commons. We're eating dirty French fries and those pizzas. The pizza like rectangles that you get in high school. And it was, yeah, dude. And straight up, Hector would show up fucking so much.
They're crazy.
Him and Maki and them. But yeah. So he grew up with Maki, but DJ Psycho, Chef David, and Maki own and run El Chingon.
Nice. Everyone's elevating, man. That's dope.
Dude, that food is ridiculous. I'm talking like it's their grandma's recipes. They used to be out in Lakewood at a little hole in the wall spot back in like 2011. And
I remember when he kind of stopped DJing and took that on full time.
Oh, dude, and it was great, dude. Green chili enchiladas, they're still on this menu, and I had them 12 years ago. They're still just as good. But then they moved to 44th and Tennyson area.
Okay.
And they just smashed it for years because I used to bartend and manage at El Camino on 32nd and Lowell. So I was in the neighborhood type-ish. And we couldn't even get into El Chingon over there. So, I mean, Dave would get me in. But then they moved it right there on that. And the place is beautiful. Like,
oh, yeah. You got to go check it out if you don't know.
Yeah. That's where the food's at.
Well, shit, man. We've wrapped for about an hour and a half, brother. I definitely appreciate you coming on.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
You got any kind of like final thoughts, man? Any shout outs or anything like that? Because we're going to have you and your crew here next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little more on the graffiti shit.
Yeah. It was nice to kind of recap everything, the different chapters of the different.
There's a lot of chapters, and I'm sure there's shit we ain't even covered because I was kind of, catching shit from you, like you said, Chris Kearns. I'm like, that's Vajra. Like, you know what I mean? And fucking, you told me the other day about this and that. I'm like, damn. And you know what I mean? Even there's other people. You know what I mean? We could go for days.
Yeah, and it's just tight. I'm just so thankful to be such a woven part of hip hop history in Denver.
For sure.
Whether
bro.
I'm not the most shiniest or the most whatever, was there. And I'm still here.
Oh, for
and
sure.
I'm from the people, for the people. And it's like, it's just such a...
All about the people.
And it's about Denver, too. Like, my...
We got to figure it out, bro, to get this place to pop. Like, it's been a mystery for the last 20, 30 years.
And, like, I've been talking about it with Pulp, how we feel like, besides how people roast chilies on the side of Federal Boulevard, Denver doesn't really have a culture. That's unique to Denver. You don't see that even in New Mexico. So, we were talking about how do we create a culture out here again? because it's about culture.
Shit, you ain't gonna do that with these youngsters. That's gone.
No,
It's
and
too late.
It's
It's like something like that. That's too late.
yeah. So it's like the Mayans.
Like maybe when the aliens take over, they
I
start
know.
their shit.
Well, that's
whatever.
what I said. The Mayans, right? And we're 12 years. They're just 12 years off. Next year's the, you know. But I'm really happy. Thank you so much for having me here. I feel
definitely
so.
appreciate you coming on by, bro. You definitely let me in on a bunch of history too.
I feel so enamored. You would even ask me to, you know, like. But that's why I just feel like, my story did have to be told. My connection into this whole community did have to be told because I am woven in from almost the beginning, but I'll be woven in till the end.
No, for sure.
You know, and it's I can't wait till Jinx and Accused because they kept with painting, and they're just smashing it. Like I said, they're KD and Dash. You know, kept going with Bedtime Monsters, so they've been traveling around because Dash met a bunch of kids who wanted to start their own group. And they wanted to be GWT, and Dash was like, "No, we have too much history. We have too many enemies. You know, like we could go into that another time."
Yeah.
And he goes, "I want you guys to be in the control." And Dash goes, "Me, Lalo, and Cosmo will be in your guys' crew." And they were, like something monsters, but they came up with Bedtime Monsters.
Okay.
You know, where the cat's under the bed. It's creepy, scaring you.
Nice.
You know, while you sleep. You can't sleep because we're under the bed. You know?
Gonna get you.
But I can't wait because they're an active B-boy crew, and Jinx and Accused are an active graffiti crew.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like the oldest one.
Hey,
Besides Scream. Scream's my OG.
gotta get him on the podcast, bro.
Yeah, actually, I'll call him. Yeah, because he's Scream's the biggest part of why I fell in love with hip hop. Because he pulled me under his wing. He really did. You know? Mm-hmm. And he didn't have to.
Nah.
I was some darky kid from wherever, you know, like, you know, and he was just like, "Oh, dude, you're cool, bro." Like,
Gotcha.
he was like, yeah. And so, like, straight up, Scream is my OG all day. That's what I needed to say.
Shout out.
Yeah. My 4 crew members, it was Cosmo, Merc, Shame, and Curse. Curse passed away. Us 4 started OAK, and that's who's going to be with us next week is Dash, and they're the second generation of the crew, but they're the ones, yeah.
Sounds
I
good.
can't wait. But thanks so much for having me, man. I can't believe we recapped so much Denver history, and there's so much more Denver history. You're right.
We'll
you know?
definitely talk about more, man, you know?
Well, I go on because I have to go on with my history with like Jer and Omni, you know. Like,
See, there's more.
you know,
so,
Soul. Like I know Soul,
Yeah.
you know, and
I've
like
been
Jer.
trying to get him on the podcast.
Bro, dude, yeah, I know everybody,
I'm
bro.
gonna send you the link to this, and you're gonna
Yeah.
listen. We gotta get you.
I pulled
on
up
here.
on Jinx and Accused and Omni and them Peyton and Rhino, and they did this like frog conveyor belt thing, and I pulled up and they go, "Hey, do you know Omni?" And I was like, "Oh," we both just lost it. Like, yeah, dude, it's like I know Soul, Shoop. I don't know Took. We know who each other are, and I don't know Emit. We know who each other are, but I don't know those guys.
No, shout out to all those cats, man.
Yeah, those guys, dude. I've been a Took fan since I was fucking for the last 20 years, bro.
Oh, yeah.
He's still my favorite. I ain't gonna lie, Took's my favorite. Oh shit! Don't tell nobody I said that. He's gonna get pissed, bro. Pope's gonna be pissed. Pope's gonna be pissed. Don't tell Pope. Oh, he's gonna hear it.
It's all good. Just shout them out.
Yeah, Pope. My
Shout
family. Yeah, Pope. Take a bullet for you, center mass, bro. None of this in my arm shit. I love Pope. Family, dude. My brother.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. Nice. Hilarious, bro. He's hilarious, bro. I love Nicer. I was with Pope. He was painting at AC's new dispensary.
Hell yeah.
It's good to see everyone out bombing, but it's just great to be a part of a podcast, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, for sure, man. Definitely appreciate you. We'll definitely do a part 2 because, man, I'm sure there's much more we could talk about.
Yeah.
Well, shit, there you have it. It's your boy Cosmo, your boy JoeThunder.
Yes,
Smoking
sir.
JoeThunder podcast. Catch us on all platforms. Dropping weekly, multiple
Everybody,
podcasts every week.
everybody, stay ready because you don't got to get ready if you stay ready.
Stay ready. All right, we out of here.
All right, peace out, y'all. 303.